My name is Molly. I'm 32 and married to Justin, who is 35 and works in an office. I work from home as a freelance fashion designer. My work was a bit up and down at first, but then I got a big project with a great paycheck. With that money, Justin and I moved into a fancy high-rise apartment. Since I wanted to live in such a nice place, I agreed to cover the rent myself. Justin was really happy about the new apartment, and I thought our future looked bright, but then something unexpected happened. One day, Justin brought his 65-year-old mother, Betty, to our apartment. Her husband had died 3 years ago, and she had been living alone since then. Hi, Molly. Hi, Betty. It's been a while. What's up? Well, she wants to move in with us, Justin said awkwardly. Why? To my surprise, Justin explained that Betty's house was old and falling apart. She didn't have much money and needed a temporary place to stay. Oh, I see. I understood but wasn't thrilled. I thought of our apartment as our cozy space, and since I didn't know Betty well, she felt like a stranger. I was hesitant about having her move in. Her house is in bad shape. I'll help her find a new place soon. Justin begged me to agree. Okay. I agreed, thinking it would be for a short time. Betty moved in a month later. Thank you so much for letting me stay in this amazing apartment. No problem. Make yourself at home. I greeted her with a polite smile, though it felt forced. Sorry to ask right away, but could I borrow some money? Huh? Money? After Betty had just settled into her room, she asked me for a loan. I was surprised by how direct she was. Yes, I've been seeing the doctor a lot lately, and it's been expensive. I just need a little help, please. How much do you need? About $300 for now. Considering her age and possible health issues, I understood that medical expenses might be high. Okay, I took $650 from my purse and gave it to her. Later, Justin asked me for advice, and I felt uneasy, wondering if it had something to do with Betty. You know, we should get a new car. I was so surprised I nearly fell off my chair. What do you mean? We bought a car just 2 years ago. But it's too small. We need a bigger one. I didn't see why size mattered. The car was fine for the two of us, or three, if we included Betty. Why did the size matter so much? I mean, my mom doesn't like it. Why? I don't understand. I didn't understand why Betty was complaining about a car that wasn't even hers. She wants a fancier car, like a Mercedes. Huh? I was completely confused. What a ridiculous idea. We can't afford a car like that. Who has the money to buy a new car just because someone doesn't like the old one? Does Betty even have a driver's license? I'm not buying an expensive car. Tell her no. I quickly turned down the idea. I couldn't see why Betty cared about the car. Then Betty asked me for more money. My medical bills have gotten even higher, and I'm behind on payments. Can you help me again? Should I be worried about your health? I asked her. Betty paused for a moment and said, Not really. I'm just feeling a bit down and having trouble sleeping. Therapy is really expensive. I'm really sorry. I understand. So how much do you need? About $1,000 for now. $1,000. I was taken aback. I didn't know much about therapy, but that seemed like a lot. I'm sorry, my insurance only covers a limited number of sessions. After that, I have to pay half the cost. Okay, I'll get it for you by tomorrow. Even though I was shocked by the amount, I tried to accept that therapy could be costly, but Betty kept coming up with new reasons for needing money, like medical bills and travel costs to visit sick friends. When I realized the total had exceeded $5,000, I was starting to get really frustrated, even though my job was going well. Then I noticed something odd. I decided to peek into Betty's room one day. What? I saw designer bags and wallets neatly arranged on the wall shelf in Betty's room. I was stunned. She had been borrowing money from me, claiming she was broke. But here she was with expensive items. I started to doubt the truth about her medical bills. A month later, Betty came to me asking for more money. Can you please wait? She said, almost angrily. I decided it was time to confront her. So I called Justin, who seemed unaware of what was happening. I need to ask you about Betty. What's she using the money for? Wait, what's going on, Melly? Justin had no idea what I was talking about. For my therapy sessions, prescriptions, and, Betty mumbled, not just those. Right. You've been buying designer clothes, bags, and other expensive things. Are you really seeing a therapist? Of course. Then show me the receipts. You must have them, right? When I pressed her with this direct question, she couldn't come up with a response. It became clear to me that she wasn't using the money for her health but for other things. Wait, what are you talking about? Justin was still confused. Betty has been wasting the money she borrowed from me. It's over $5,000. Even so, you're being too harsh. Can't you talk to her more gently? Justin was clearly siding with his mother. I don't have receipts. I was using the money for shopping and eating out with my friends, Betty finally admitted. I've noticed you seem relaxed and not at all depressed, even though you claim to have no money. If you were lying, please pay me back right now. Betty looked at me with desperate eyes. Wait, I can't come up with that much money right away. I've had enough, I said, pointing at her room. You have so many designer items. Sell them all if you need to, or move out. Justin, defending his mother, said, Hey, you're being unfair. She deserves a bit of luxury too. I wouldn't call it luxury. You've borrowed over $5,000, and it's wasted. It feels like a scam. You're being disrespectful. Don't act so entitled just because you're living here for free. If you're not happy with this, you should leave. What? That's nonsense. I was furious, almost ready to explode. I glared at him with intense anger. Did I say anything wrong? You're the one who brought Betty here. You just stay at home and do nothing. Who do you think made it possible for you to live in this nice apartment? I yelled, You're so arrogant, it's infuriating. Get out now. He was enraged. Fine, don't regret this. I grabbed only the essentials and left the apartment. I quickly found a new place to live. As a remote worker, I could work from anywhere. I wasn't fixed on living in a high-rise as long as I had a comfortable home. What's next? I decided I wouldn't return to the old place. I had been paying the rent myself, and I doubted Justin would be able to afford it on his own. My income was much higher than his. I went to see a realtor who had helped me before. It's becoming really hard to pay the rent due to personal reasons. I could afford it, but I lied on purpose. I'm sorry to hear that. What would you like to do? I asked him for a favor. One day, while I was working, I got a call from Justin. What's up? What do you mean? What? What have you done? He told me the lease was canceled and that I needed to move out. Yes, I asked the property agent to end the lease. I don't live there anymore, so why should I keep paying the rent? Don't you understand that? But my mom and I still live there. That's ridiculous. I was stunned and sighed in frustration. I don't live there, so why should I keep paying for the apartment? If you're having trouble, talk to your mom. Maybe she can sell some of her things to get money. I said it with a touch of sarcasm. Shut up. You were the one who wanted to live in a high-rise. If you don't want to move, why don't you just take over the lease yourself? Wait, I guess you can afford it with your salary. He seemed frustrated and couldn't come up with a better response. You should be able to manage a smaller place, so deal with it and move in with your mom. Are you crazy? My mom has already spent the money from selling her house, and I don't have any savings. How am I supposed to find a new place? That's not my problem. I was surprised he had no savings, especially since he'd been relying on my income. I realized how irresponsible both he and his mother had been. You brought this on yourself. Figure it out from now on. Are you saying we'll be homeless? You're still my wife. I told you to deal with it yourself. I'm leaving. I'm done with this. Goodbye. I hung up on him. A few minutes later, my phone rang again. It was Betty. Yes. Melly, I'm really sorry. I promise I'll pay you back. Please don't kick us out. She pleaded, her voice trembling with tears. I was surprised and felt a pang of sadness. I don't want to punish you, but you need to live within your means. If you only have a small retirement income, you should adjust your lifestyle accordingly. If you want a higher standard of living, you need to work for it. As a freelancer, I understood the harsh reality of working hard to afford a certain lifestyle instead of relying on others. It was my fault. I'm sorry. Please don't let us end up on the street. I'm sorry, but that apartment has already been leased to someone else. You really need to move out. This is a matter of regulations. I coldly rejected her request and ended the call. Later, I learned from the realtor that Justin and Betty had begged him in tears to keep the lease. However, he told them a new tenant was moving in soon, and they had to leave. Even if they had stayed, Justin's salary would have barely covered the rent, leaving them unable to afford anything else. It was absurd for them to rely on me while I was paying the rent. His stubbornness had led to this situation. I heard from acquaintances that Justin and Betty couldn't find a new apartment. They were moving from motel to motel because Justin didn't have enough money for the broker's fee or deposit, and no one was willing to be his guarantor. Although he could have used a guarantor service, he still needed the money for the fees and deposit. Betty's short work history meant her Social Security didn't provide much. They were even struggling to afford food. They had brought all this trouble upon themselves. On my side, I landed another big project and became financially more stable. Looking back on our marriage, I realized that relying too much on one partner, whether financially or otherwise, is not sustainable. When one person depends completely on the other, it can lead to major problems when things fall apart. As a result, Justin and I ended up separating and eventually divorced. Our feelings for each other had faded, and there was no reason to stay together. Now that we're no longer together, I feel a sense of relief. If I decide to marry again, I'll be more careful in choosing the right partner. The divorce gave me valuable insights and new perspectives on life.